Hey, dude. So you really expect me to believe that you never podcasted or did any kind of radio before? Really? Come on. I'm not an idiot, dude.
So back when he was like 16 years old, my parents went out on vacation. I think they went to Italy. I was in college, or I just graduated, one of those 21, 22. So it was me and a bunch of my friends. We're all just drinking beer, like hanging out, like no music on, no nothing. We're just hanging out. And then Andrew, we decided to allow Andrew to throw a party. Lino Palooza, it was entitled after the fact.
Oh, what a nerd.
So what this was a bunch of 16-year-olds, right? I had a girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, it's rough. 16's rough.
And RJ was also at my house, and so was my sister. So we have Andrew, RJ, me, my girlfriend at the time, Deanna, and we had Jacqueline.
Right.
Those are the adults. And then all of a sudden, kids start showing up, right? And my sister leaves.
Dude, at 16, when word gets out there's a party, they come out of everywhere.
And my sister leaves, and so does RJ for some reason. They want to pick some shit up. So me and Deanna are sitting upstairs, right? And it's getting loud. Like, they're getting loud, and the music's getting louder. I'm hearing banging. And there's got to be like 20 kids down there at least.
Definitely.
And I don't want to go down there alone. Like, I don't know what's going on, what they're going to do, like how they're going to react. I don't know these kids.
Oh, yeah, no.
So I go downstairs, and it's a fucking shit show. My brother is wasted. Did I go up to him like, Andrew, are you drunk? He's like, he goes, no, I'm okay. I'm not drunk. I'm like, Andrew, you're wasted.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm trying to talk to you as your brother. So we go and we look in the other side, and like, they got into my parents' wine cellar. So they're just drinking a bunch of red wine also.
That's rough.
On top of all, like, they had alcohol, they had beer.
Right.
I provided them with that. So they went through that, and they went to the wine cellar. So they're drinking. I see one kid like knock over a beer, and I see one kid who's like way too drunk to be down there. So I got him upstairs, and I get him out front, and he's angry drunk. This kid is angry drunk.
Yeah.
I'm a 21-year-old, and these kids are 16, so they understand like to not fuck with me and respect me. But like, he was getting like,
when all his parents are like, yeah, 16. You think you know what's going on?
So I bring him out front, right? This kid starts yakking in my front lawn. I'm like, yo, like, I'm talking to someone who's responsible for him now, because he's like in that point where he's not even talking. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna have his sister pick her up. So I'm waiting for this kid. This kid's, come on, just let me go back in, man. Just let me go back in. I'm like, no, you're not going back in. He's like, what do I need to do to go back in? I'm like, listen, we can go around back and hang out on the deck, but you're not going back inside the house. Oh, because he puked going up the stairs. I forgot about that part.
That sucks.
So we had to clean that up. So I bring him outside.
Wood or carpet?
Wood. The stairs are going up the basement.
Okay, so not that bad, but still like...
Still sucks to clean up somebody else's puke. Clean up puke is gross, especially when it's somebody else's.
Yeah. So
carpet would have been dicks.
Yeah.
I bring him on the deck. So all of a sudden the party's out on the deck now.
Party's outside. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Which is what I wanted.
Right.
Which is exactly what I wanted, because it was a summer night and like the basement was getting fucked up. So I think at that point...
That was my party. I had the door to the house locked so nobody could go in.
Yeah, at that point, what happened was there were people who were sober and just hanging out.
Right.
And then there were people who were wasted. RJ, Deanna, and my sister were inside cleaning while I was just making sure no one went out inside that was too drunk. I said, you guys are just out here.
This is where the party is now.
Yeah. And so that's Galino Palooza. And then my parents found out about that. They didn't find out about it. We told them like a few years ago, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Oh, they really didn't know?
No, they didn't know.
My mom like knew. She's like, the one part, she's like, dude, there was a rock moved. She's like, a rock was moved. Did you have people over? I'm like, fucking nature? That's how you're gonna peg this on me? Like, nature moved? I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, but you've seen my backyard with all like the plants, and like obviously they know almost the entire layout of. It's a very manicured backyard where she would know if a rock was moved. I was just so dumbfounded by that. Like,
that's funny.
Oh, so I text my my brother-in-law. So we would actually need a commercial loan, not a residential. So he only does residential.
Well, you want to talk to Matt? Continue talking to Matt?
We'd see what. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, just put that as a side. Who is this guy, Matt?
Juan's friend.
Oh, so like you do actually know him, not just I met some guy.
No.
This is
Like my best friend was like.
You're just like handing.
Yeah,
like, it was.
I was at his house smoking a joint when we called you.
I hate that you did that to me. But
Oh, he smoked a joint with Matt.
also, I would have never if you said, "Hey, call this guy," I never would have called him. And I hope that you know, and that's why you did it. I hate you in the moment for it, but like, I'm the kind of guy that sometimes needs to get like drop kicked down the stairs in order to do something.
I've been there with you. But like this time, I really we had the idea to buy a house. But like this time, I really need a fucking drop.
Yeah, and like what happened with that is like you're like, okay, it kind of seemed like send the guy the papers, and then like that's your part in this. Like your role was taken care of. Like I didn't know there needed to be any sort of ongoing discussion. I figured it was give your financials, they'll give you a number, and I'll call you back when I need the actual money. I
learned to understand things don't happen for a reason. You know, like that didn't happen for a reason. Obviously, that reason is so Juan's friend could get us what we need to get in order to get this better thing that we could never even imagine.
Mystical Negro. This cannot go on the podcast.
That part, yeah.
We just ruined the podcast.
Well, I mean, as an Italian, you know, when you first came over, you guys were the darker Negro.
But I mean, my parents came here, so like I don't have anything to do with any of this. So I'm like outside of the racial war in this country.
Yeah,
I am white, obviously.
Same deal.
But like to me, it's like
my ancestors immigrated through Ellis Island.
No, I mean
your parents lived here. You know, your grandparents were here, and they experienced slavery and racism and all that shit. So to you, it's in you, like it's in your DNA because your lineage experienced it. Whereas with me, it's like. Yeah, I see it. Like I respect what's going on. I don't ever dare throw my hat in the ring. Listen. If you want to make a joke and you're black, I don't care. If you want to make a joke and you're Asian or you're Indian, I'm white. We are all different, but we should.
That is literally the best part of everybody is our differences. If everybody was the same, nothing would progress. We are great because we are all unique and we are all so different from each other. Like that is the beauty.
Yeah,
if we all look like
imagine mayonnaise on toast,
dude. If you guys were all me, I'd fucking just stay home and be with my what I need you guys for. I love you both because you are so different from me. You think different. Yeah. Yes, we have a lot of things that align, but because like we can find the commonalities through the differences. Like that is the greatness of, especially like America. Like all the different nations coming and finding each other. Like. China, they built the wall and locked themselves up. They're like, we're just chilling by ourselves. Like, we're such a melting pot, which is so great. The fact that I can experience I'm a mutt. I got Irish, German, Ukrainian, and Spanish. Nobody was here in the colonial days. We all immigrated through Ellis Island. So, like, I don't feel that connection, but, like, I get to experience so much culture and so much diversity because, like, everyone's like, let's try something fucking crazy. Let's travel across the world to this new land and like see what's going on, and like that's fucking so dope. Like that's what bothers me about cultural appropriation. Like I get that a lot of fucked up shit happened in the past, but like that's why you're in America. You know, that's why you move from your village that's all the same to this village where everybody's different, because you want to show what's good about you and also experience what's good from other places and like bring it all together. This
doesn't happen ever. It's almost like America was an experiment. You know, let's put every race on this one nation and see what happens.
But it's not like that's how it was originally.
But it's really started as a bunch of psychos who had this one, like, very close. They wanted to basically form their own cult on this land that they thought was unpopulated, and then they realized it wasn't
populated by civilized people.
Like a lot of shit that's deeply rooted is like the Puritan nature of the original start of what America became. You can talk, you know, obviously people that immigrated over the Bering Strait and came over and occupied, Indians, Native Americans, whatever you want to maybe call them.
Have you guys heard of this rainbow coalition that Native Americans always speak of? Like they say, like tribes of different colors from all over the world will come together to help the earth.
I haven't, but I like it.
I just had the idea of there's cycles. You know, there's cycles of light and cycles of darkness.
Yes.
Right now, obviously, we're going through a cycle of darkness. And that's why, like, the Native Americans and the people that have always lived with the planet are they're like losing, they're losing the battle. But now it's like the tide is about to turn, and like these new people that understand how to live with technology and the earth are going to come up. That's the reality I want to bring forward.
So what you're saying is that, like, all right, this is me being all Mr. Historian and shit. So what you're pretty much saying is like, okay, 1492, Columbus, fucking, all right, look, now Europeans are like, oh shit, there's this whole fucking land over here, and that starts the fucking cycle of darkness and shit.
Well, what was going on in Europe in 1492?
I don't think
was that an age of darkness?
That was, the Renaissance was happening, but they were
so it's like
still,
it's like a dark age.
But also during
America.
That's singularly forward. Like there's that darkness there, but over like it wasn't universal darkness. It's a dark spot with lightness elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like it's all coexisting.
Well, right now
it's yin and yang. It's still coexist. Like there is, as much as there is darkness right now, there is still all that light. It's just a matter of bringing the light into the darkness.
well, I was gonna say, it's like, okay, so they find the Americas, right? Because the whole point of finding the Americas was to get to the Orient easier, to get to fucking China and bypass.
We weren't looking for America.
Yeah.
We didn't know it existed.
Yeah, we didn't know it existed. We were trying to get to
We thought we hit the West Indies.
Yeah.
When they went down to because Columbus really landed in the Caribbean.
Yeah, in the fucking West Indies, yeah.
He thought he hit India.
Yeah, he thought he fucking hit India. Because the skin was like kind of like similar. And he's like,
Right.
oh, okay.
Dark skin because
Like,
they're near the equator, sunny,
yeah.
melatonin.
And we were trying to fucking skip the Ottoman Empire because they were just
Melanin.
they were fucking, they were the middlemen. They were overcharging for shit. So we were like, fuck that. I'm trying to find an alternate route.
Right.
So that exploration started the exploration of like fucking Southeast Asia by Europeans, and they found Australia, and they found all these fucking islands, and they found all this shit. And then, I mean, really, my opinion, like if you guys look back, like historically, they'll probably call it this shit or some other different name than like the exploration period. But like the European like domination or some shit, because like Columbus happens, and then like everybody else in the world gets fucked up. Like, if your country wasn't, like, a fucking European country, like, you were gonna eventually get fucked up by a European country. Like, all the other powers and anywhere else fucking fell off. Like,
Why did that happen?
the Europeans were constantly at war with each other, right? Whereas the other places in the world were fucking huge empires who had already consolidated power.
Oh, so
the Europeans are forced to fucking advance because of the fucking non-stop warfare.
It was like they're...
So once they get like the Chinese invented gunpowder but had no reason to fucking do anything besides like rockets and shit because they're fucking China. They're imperial China. No one fucking compete with them. India, the same thing. Ottoman Empire, the same thing. These are huge empires versus small Spain, small England, small France, small Germany, small Holy Roman Empire, small Russia that all have to constantly fight and their borders are constantly shifting.
Well, that's what happens when you put too many people in one little pocket. You have too many people in one little pocket, they start bickering and arguing and fighting. Where these other countries were exploring spirituality. These other countries were focusing on warfare. Like these people were experiencing nature.
All these other countries are able to grow their food, back to the previous podcast that I was on in regard that Bill brought up, where they're in certain parts of the world where they can grow the food because Ottoman Empire has fucking Mesopotamia and fucking the Tigris and Euphrates in it. The Indian empires have the Ganges and fucking other rivers that provide mad food. China has Yellow, so they're all good with food. The Europeans are fighting over like the fucking land. They're fighting over resource-rich areas because they're in a shitty part of the fucking world, resource-wise. Like, and there's too many people, like you said, that are fighting over like these scant fucking resources.
Wow, and they just build up their defenses and their arsenal, and then all of a sudden China's just chilling. They're like, whoa.
To me, China's the anomaly in the equation because almost every nation has attempted in some way to expand. Mm-hmm. And in the time when Europe was attempting to expand, most of these nations had already done their conquering and expanded. China was just like, we got enough space, we're cool, put the wall up, and we're just going to stay here. Everybody else was like, fuck this, we're taking over everything. So obviously, like, Ottoman Empire and that part of the world warred with, he comes all the way up to, like, the Crusades of battling back and forth, and, like... China's just like, dude, we don't care about any of this. Like, we're just going to be China and chill, which is just, it almost seems to go against, like, human nature of, like, trying to, spread your seed and multiply and put more of you out there. Like, basically what all life is attempting to, like, think about, like, the cells in your body are always trying to conquer over other cells to become like a disease comes in and tries to own the whole, you know, ecosystem of its,
take
own the host by spreading
host,
its, you know, its cells and multiplying. Like that's basically to me like what all empires have tried to do, is basically expand themselves. But I also think what would be interesting is, so obviously we know what Europe is like now. Like temperature wise, all that. Like, what was it back in the 800s? So, what's weird to me is that we do the ACBC thing, or like the.
I think that was the medieval warming period. I'm pretty sure.
Right, because like obviously Egypt wasn't a desert back in the day when the Egyptians were there and when the pyramids were being built.
If aliens came and grew pyramids down there, I think it was a nice spot to visit.
Right.
It definitely had the desert like around shit, but it was definitely a lot more lush.
Oh yeah.
It was probably like Costa Rica.
Also, because there weren't as many people like taking the water, and like the shit was allowed to flood however the fuck it wanted to. Like there weren't dams and shit. Imagine if they fucking busted the fucking dams and the Nile was able to fucking be like its natural state. Like a bunch of cities would get fucked up. Cairo, Alexandria, probably at the end of the fucking delta would probably get messed up. Damn, man. I mean, just. Like, okay, it's like if I have all this shit on my fucking TV, like Mongol Empire and all this other shit, and just like, it's fucking crazy, man. But like, no, that's my honest thing. Like, Vince was saying the whole, like, age of darkness and, like, all this dark shit. Like, to me, the, like, European expansion pretty much, like, forced everyone to become so much more deadly. Like it just started this fucking cascading. Like, you know how we talk about in modern times, like a nuclear arms race or whatever? We've been in a fucking like 500 years long arms race, pretty much. Like, we had swords and spears and shields and horses and chariots and shit for like thousands of years.
Oh,
in the last 500 years now, we've been in this fucking.
We've constantly been looking for better ways to kill other people.
Yeah.
Which is just, the concept of war to me is just insane.
Yeah.
Especially, we always think that we're better than previous civilizations. I don't really think.
No.
Their ability to communicate with anyone in the world instantly now, like to get your point across versus let's go kill them. Like, how can two people have an argument so they get all their buddies to go fucking kill each other? What? Why don't we talk about this?
Yeah.
Figure out what's really going on.
Yeah, how do we skip that part?
Like, okay, and then all these people die, you still have to come to the table to set terms.
But
so let's pretend all these people died already and let's just get to the fucking terms.
There's that impasse.
Computer match.
It should be. It should be simulated war. That's eventually what war will be. It won't be between humans, it'll be between their robots.
Computer power,
or, you know, like...
Let's not physically destroy the world. Let's like...
Play a game of Risk.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, what... Like our RPG.
Think about it. Like, what's
your RPG players?
Well, what's the difference?
Not RPG, like first-person shooters.
But someone's gonna break that fucking rule, man. Like, yo, dude, think about like, the reason why Napoleon was so fucking successful is because everybody else is like, oh, let's just have these small, super professional state armies of like 30,000 people for like each country, and then Napoleon's like, or I can just fucking mass like my professional army plus like 500,000 peasants and just give them all muskets and just make these huge lines of infantry and just blow everybody away. Like,
all it takes is one prick to like fuck up everything.
That's everything. That's every time. It takes one prick to be like.
Think about like literally school shootings. You know, now all of a sudden every school has to worry about what to do because it happens. You know, I'm not saying it happens more than it ever should happen, but whatever. But now every school has to do something.
Every school has to do something.
You know, like
if you're
nothing is ever going to happen to one of those schools.
It would be unforgivable if it came out that you weren't doing drills. Like if somehow people felt like your school got shot up and somehow they're like the superintendent
didn't do anything.
Fired. Yeah, you didn't do shit.
But it's crazy how reactionary we become because like your chances of getting shot in a school shooting are probably worse than getting electrocuted by fucking getting hit by lightning. But, I mean, how often do you walk out the door and you're afraid of the lightning?
If there are a few things that I would be reactionary about, it'd probably be my kids. Like I'd be fucking like.
Right, but
what is it? That's what it is. Because it's literally like the one thing you have to safeguard above all else is the literal fucking future. Like I have to make sure like the next fucking kid who's gonna fix global warming so she doesn't get fucking shot.
But is that fear warranted? Is where I'm like? Do you fear? When your kids go outside in the rain? Do you fear that they're gonna get struck by lightning, or like, or do you feel that they're gonna get mauled by a dog? Like,
alright, don't touch a button. What is
where this
that little slit? Well, it comes with two mouthpieces.
That mouthpiece is dicks.
Listen, Pax, I love you, so send me.
You have a good product. Your first one was better than the second one, and this new thing with the little slip where you can't even tell if it's the top or the bottom. No, man, come on. I'm stoned. I can't figure this shit out.
Pax, I love you. So,
Pax, honest review. I like the old one better.
I do. The first one was, I think, was the better one.
the first one was. Oh, battery's dead.
Might be. I don't own one. I just use Vince's. But it's definitely cool to be able to, like... I just assume everybody smoking a vape is smoking weed. Like, I don't think anybody's e-cigaretting. It's all... I just think everybody's smoking weed.
If it's an e-cigarette shaped one,
If it's an e-thing, it's weed. Like, I don't give a shit.
If it's a vape,
Yeah.
Right. Unless it's that giant thing that, like, has that suit... Like, the cartridges for those things are, like, humongous. You can tell it's the tobacco one, but, yeah, if it looks like a pen, you're smoking weed.
It's crazy, but, like, I still feel like it's not too late for...
I'm like, this thing is humming.
It's my.
Is it gonna explode?
No, it's fine.
Dude, you're just hearing the energy, dude.
Yeah. Like,
You ever go near a high voltage power line and you can hear them buzzing?
Yeah.
That's creepy, but...
Dude, I have this whole separate theory about that shit. I was about to be like, yo, America
What's
can do
that?
this, but yo, electricity, our world definitely opens like doors, portals, makes crossing between the two planes of existence like life, death easier for like spirits, whatever. Because
Oh, you're saying to go through the electrical grid.
because my theory on what like
Well, if everything's energy and you can make it easier for energy to travel...
well, like my theory on like what fucking ghosts are or like spirits, whatever the fuck, right? Is our brains run off electricity, right? Obviously,
Right.
And we're surrounded by like a fucking magnetic field in the earth, right? So like you have these emotions, like yeah, if it's strong enough, like fucking ghost stories are always like. Some little kid died a tragic death. It was so sad, or like some husband murdered his wife with an axe and he was so angry. And there's always these fucking like
the
really,
tragedy,
powerful
tragic story.
emotional
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, like that frequency is now imprinted on that
Yes,
area.
and that's why you see the like
So
that's
you
why
tap into
that's
that
why
frequency.
that's why some spiritual ghosts whatever are just that recurring replaying like that whole like all those like we all grew up in New Jersey, those
Right.
fucking like weird NJ
Weird New
like
Jersey stuff.
if you go on the fucking
That's
road
fun, man.
and you see the girl constantly waiting for her prom
Yeah,
date
yeah,
by the
yeah.
side of the road with her fucking jacket on,
It definitely-
like oh you know what I mean, like that, and you fucking pick her up and then you drop her off and she's like I live here, it's the fucking cemetery, and she's gone. And you're like, what? And then that's it. Like,
Right,
that's
right,
the story.
right.
Like, that kind of shit is that, like, residual, sad fucking energy of just, like, this person trapped in this shit.
It definitely makes a lot of
Like,
sense
it's
when you think of like the crossing. Like you always hear like the spirit has to cross over, but like if the spirit is energy, and you have this magnetic field where the energy can't actually get past and is trapped. That's literally it can't pass over because it's
Yeah.
stuck in this energy field.
Which is why you see shit like those. Okay, like, I like fucking ghost shows, whatever, but because I had this theory that I already thought of, like, just like, and it's cool to see them use, like, fucking electromagnetic field.
The EMFs and stuff,
Yeah, the
yeah.
EMFs, and, like, they fucking have, like, white noise. Like they're trapped in the frequency. They're trapped in this frequency. Like, we can't not talk about, like, what frequency you're vibrating at without having these things,
Yeah, well,
like,
it's, you know what it is?
like
It's probably
super
like
high, low, like...
So have you ever seen like if you're mapping out sound on a computer the way it's like a wavelength, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden you have like a crash, like something falls and boom, like that is a
Spikes
spike.
it,
That's
yeah.
a huge spike in the frequency.
Right.
So maybe that spike just stays in that location because it's so intense until it just clears out. And in order to clear it out, you have to do something. Maybe that's what
Right.
shamans or witch people.
You have to change the
understand
energy
that.
field. Like you have
Yeah,
to. Yeah.
people who understand how to do that and tap into it, like that's what like it's real,
Right.
You know, like because people have said, you know, oh, I had this weird thing happen, and then I had this person come in and they saved the house, and all of a
Right.
sudden,
Okay, I actually have a story for you. Maybe you can help me with this, right? So...
okay,
literally, like you said, frequencies. Like we're talking about frequencies and changing energy fields in this story. I just remember this shit. So this is, I can't think of how long ago. Maybe like the last week or so, right? I'm sitting down here. I'm really just doing like my shit. I'm just like hitting the pen, like fucking watching like some YouTube, some kind of historical shit, whatever the fuck. Just surfing the internet, reading fucking articles, whatever. And I hear this. I start hearing this like really high pitched like this whine, like this really hard, and then it gets louder, even higher pitched, and until it's just like beep, like in my ear,
just in one ear,
just in my left ear, right?
yeah,
And then not in my right, just my left ear.
okay,
And I'm like sitting there like, what the fuck? Like this is weird, and as it's happening, this is really weird.
but you're hearing it.
I'm hearing it,
yeah,
and it stops. And within like 5 to 10 seconds, like all the lights are out. I start feeling this like energy here, like right here in the fucking doorway. And I'm like, nah, this is weird, whatever. Like nah. I'm like
this
it's
is me being stoned.
Yeah, this is me being stoned. But it literally felt like I looked because it felt like I was going to see like a silhouette of something just standing there, and I just kept looking for the next like 2-3 minutes, and then the feeling goes away. Within like 2 minutes, Quat comes downstairs. Like just I hear him like get out of bed, come downstairs. And I'm like, yo, what's up, buddy? You have like a bad dream? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, what was it about? Because I try and talk to him about it so I can like kind of see where his head's at, whatever. He goes, there was a monster with like 3 eyes and 3 noses, but 1 mouth and 1 face. And like it came through the floor from the kitchen. And I was like, what? Like he said that.
3 eyes.
3 eyes, 3 noses, and 1 mouth.
The third
3
eye,
noses.
3 noses. I don't know. I'd have to
1 mouth.
You want to look this
I
up?
have to internet that.
Look that up.
I'm not trying to have this be the start to one of those movies where like the dad looks up what it is and it's like some crazy like Sumerian demon or some shit like that, like fucking. But yeah, that shit freaked me out. That shit literally freaked. Like I was like, that's so eerie. Just like that, like the noise that I experienced, and then like I felt it like here. Like I felt like something was in the kitchen. And then my kid comes downstairs like 2 minutes later and then is like, yo, I had a dream where something came up from the fucking kitchen. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like,
that's weird.
That makes no fucking sense. Like,
Yeah, that's got to be like some kind of interdimensional being appearing there. Maybe.
just had to have happened, just a random.
And your ear is becoming more sensitive. Actually, what they say is when you start experiencing ringing in your ears, that's an essential symptom.
I've been meditating like a lot at night. I've actually been listening to like Native American flute, like shaman fucking meditation, like fucking just water or like rain or some shit, and just like meditating. And like I meditate literally like right here. Like this is literally, I just sit like in my comfy spot on the couch and I just fucking meditate. It's fucking that was weird. That was really fucking weird. That was really weird.
Yeah, that's definitely
I was just like,
definitely
dude, what
creep
the
you out.
fuck?
It's like
All right, fine. You know what? Fuck it. We'll YouTube it.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Like, because when you meditate, you change your brain waves. So, like, you definitely change the frequency that you can send and receive. So, like, a lot of people get creeped out when they can't like put the science to like the thing. But like, just because you can't measure it doesn't mean it's not there. You just haven't figured out the way to measure it yet. Like, if you couldn't smell, and I farted, you'd have no idea.
Yeah, I have this one friend who can't.
Doesn't mean I didn't fart. The fart is floating around the world, floating out there. You can see it with thermal, so we have thermal that can detect it. But if you didn't have thermal and you couldn't smell, you'd have no idea. But the fart's there. Like that's what a lot of this woo-woo stuff is. We just haven't figured out the way to measure it yet.
Well, we can't tap into it, so we can't see it. It's not even in our radar.
It's not in a,
can't experience it.
Right. So when you see something, like you're able to measure it with your eyes or measuring and seeing, but like
The thing we got to realize, science is a tool. Science is not the end all be all.
right.
We're here for a fluid, creative reason. We're not, as well as an analytical reason. But we can't have one without the other. You can't science away spirituality. I hate
The deeper you get into science, it just more confirms it.
Right, because when people try to I used to think that way. I didn't used to think like this. Like I used to think scientifically. I used to think analytically. I used to think,
right.
How can I measure it? How can I do this? And then the universe just kept kicking my ass enough until it realized, listen, Vince, you're on a roller coaster. Enjoy the ride.
Right.
It's like you don't know what you know. Like the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect should blow everyone's mind, and it should explain to everyone that everything is possible, and not to have a rigid mindset about anything. New information should change your mind.
Yes, definitely.
Allow new information to change your mind without feeling challenged.
You have to be open to. You definitely have to be open to new information, and you can't Everyone's guilty. I'm guilty of everything. You get stuck to your idea, so you don't accept anything that's opposite to it, and you try to defend your idea in the face of overwhelming difference.
Yeah, I mean,
it's tough to change. Dude, I'm telling you. So you were talking about the science of things, and I'm very analytical. Definitely. What is it? Right brain when you go with? Yeah, right brain is numbers and shit, and analyzing. When the book was able to break the woo-woo into quantum physics, it just all clicked for me. I'm okay, So I'm like, let's get deep, because like the science is explaining it. Most people don't know quantum physics. Like it's wild stuff.
The thing is, so I used to think very science oriented, and I learned that people that know science, that don't understand spirituality, haven't gotten further enough into science.
Yes, it's the Newtonian version of science that is like Newton or Einstein, like like Einstein's theory of, and like it's limits you, and like once you break past that into like where Tesla was at and like hit the quantum level, like then things really start to open up for you as in terms of like what's possible, what's not.
Yeah, like that
fucking string theory, time being linear, like waves. And
you familiar with the double slit experiment where they shot a particle?
Yeah,
they shot a particle and it acted as a wave and a particle. Depending on how you looked at it.
Yes. So also, the observer influences the experiment. Like, there's a lot of crazy things when you get into like deep into the science. It helps prove the woo. Yeah,
a lot of it is, if you look at it from like this is a simulation, it's a really interesting theory.
Right.
You know, the way it's all science based, it's all numbers based, and then the smaller, it's like when you try to zoom in on a map, it starts getting blurry.
Right.
You know, you can't really see. That's like what we're doing. We're getting to that point where it's blurry, and we're trying to figure it out and make it a little sharper, and then we'll keep going and going and going.
Right.
Because like we keep finding the smallest thing. It's only a matter of time before we find an Earth on a particle. You know.
Right.
I wonder where we're gonna find life first. Down into the macro or the micro?
Well, what's your term in life? I think
it's very pretentious of us to think we're gonna go out there and find life. I think it's a lot more likely that the aliens are already here among us and they found us.
Yo, I really think that we are the aliens.
Yes.
Because if you think about, okay, so like there's this like calendar of the universe, right? And it's like, oh, this calendar of the universe, humanity's shown up. If you put the whole life of the universe thus far on the calendar, we show up like December 26th or something.
Yeah, it's real late. I don't even think we show up like 10 seconds before the fucking
midnight,
ball drops.
That's what it is, yeah, for the ball.
Yeah, it's like really nothingness.
Yeah. If you take that calendar and expand it to the theory of how long the universe is going to be around, we come in like at like a little bit after noon on New Year's Day.
That's cool. I've never heard that side of it.
So like we are like the fucking Halo Forerunners. Like that's who we are. Like how we say like we manifest shit. Like what is our science fiction but just us manifesting our fucking future? Like we go like, oh, like super advanced civilizations use Dyson spheres. We'll probably be the first ones to use that shit. You know what I mean? Like we're here so early. Like we are the seeders of life. Like we are put on Earth. What if Earth is the first planet to have like sentient life on it, and we're meant to be the ones to seed everywhere else?
Definitely.
Like, we know we could be like the Sumerians, that like the ones that are like so ancient, but like there's definitely people before the Sumerians.
We keep uncovering and changing our history as we like keep finding out people existed earlier than we thought. Like it, like if right now like everything got wiped out, the population got wiped down to 1%, scattered throughout the entire world.
Yeah,
it would take so fucking long to get to like an iPhone.
Yeah.
It would take thousands of years to build up the technology.
You know what that actually reminds me of? The end of Battlestar Galactica. Spoiler alert. On Sci-Fi Channel, like fucking however many fucking years ago.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it by now, spoiler alert.
They're fucking... Imagine like Halo, the fucking flood actually conquers you, or the fucking Covenant, whatever. And the last survivors end up crash landing on this planet. And they like have enough power for like one hyperspace, and they end up crash landing on this planet and it zooms out. It's fucking Earth.
Right.
But they're like starting completely from zero. Yeah. Like the only tech they have is what's salvaged from their fucking ship. But other than that, it's gonna be useless. And like they can't teach their kids this shit. It's just like fucking survive.
Now it comes back to the basics of like food, water, shelter to survive. Yeah. We don't have time to expand technology. We just need to survive.
A huge macro version of if you got lost and like you got drunk one night and found yourself lost in the fucking woods when you woke up and like your phone was dead.
We've all been there. Am I right? Am I right?
Huge macro version of that. Like it's just like, oh shit. Like fuck. All right. Well, it looks like it's like, I don't know. You have to figure shit out. You have to be like, where the fuck? Like, where's east? Where's west? Like, it's literally that shit. You got to figure out like how to just straight start
over from nothing.
Good. I mean, what about the Ice Age, man? Like, there's probably so many. I mean, the Ice Age is 10, 12,000 years ago. There's probably civilizations before that shit.
100%.
100. Yeah, like fucking. I wouldn't be surprised if the Antarctic ice melted and we found like villages or some shit in Antarctica. I wouldn't be surprised.
Right, not at all.
It's like super advanced technology, like Atlantis type shit.
Well, there are theories that Atlantis is down there.
What if they all just froze in time? Like they literally just like someone cast a spell.
That's
like
the ice
like Pompeii, but just like ice.
Yeah, just whoosh, but like an ice
wow.
that can like.
How would that happen, man? Like so just some straight like day after fucking tomorrow shit. Just like if you're out in the vortex, like you're just done.
Yeah,
like,
just some kind of alien just like shot.
Well, that's what gets crazy about Antarctica because nobody's allowed to go there, so people think that shit like that is really what's down there. Every nation has an agreement where like these are the rules in Antarctica. Like that's crazy to think about. Like all the super, like they know obviously something that nobody else does. Like why is this one area the area we decided like let's all be friends?
I mean, they made it scientific.
Well, you guys watch the Truman Show. It's what it is. It's where the show is being.
I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like Antarctica really got full explored after like World War I or like around that time period.
It was like what 1940 something. That Colonel
and people were like just getting to the middle. So by that point, like they already fought so many wars.
That's the whitewashed version of history. You can't. There's no way it took from whatever period of time people existed. Till like that's why I was wondering like we do the like before Christian era and like AD like
BC.
What year did they call it in 5000 BC?
Yeah.
You didn't start from
Muslim calendars.
You know what, dude?
Like,
we're the first people to exist. Let's start the year at 1,000,000 and go backwards,
well, what about
and then we'll hit 0 and go forwards. What the fuck?
There's a cool guy that's gonna come like at this point in time.
You know what?
So let's go do everything based on that. Time.
We're worshiping these gods, but I think some other guy's gonna come along and everybody's gonna believe him.
Hey man, I mean, I'm sure in China the year is totally different. Like,
oh, absolutely. The Chinese New Year is like 3, 8, 5,000. The Jewish have their
I would be
own
surprised Chinese
New Year. Like that's the one we should follow.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chinese New Year was on like 4,800.
Something like it's up there.
Like the
It's
Jewish calendar's on what, like 3,600.
Who was like, okay, guys, listen, this is year
What
one.
year is it? Oh, fuck you, serious.
Like who said this is year one and how many people agreed to it? Like where was it established?
Dude,
for us, it's the Roman Emperor.
Yeah.
We're literally living off the Roman Empire still.
But even that, they were still BC.
I mean, a bunch of like a whole lot of them is just like
it was a religion that did this. Christianity,
dude. The years definitely got recreated hundreds of years after the event. Because the Bible was written hundreds of years after Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus wasn't even a person back then. Like people knew about him, but it wasn't a.
If he was,
that's funny. Fucking catch up. How the fuck we're gonna do it? Like Noel's like, yo, we're in year one. They're just like they just made up what fucking year they were in. Because really, like, so it's just based on like, and why is the year January 1st if it's based on Christ's birth and not December 25th and like that's the New Year's Day?
What if that is the trajectory through which Christ consciousness splits? Right? So we go back to Jesus. Jesus is the first analogy for someone who created something and made the world different in our European.
He's right.
So if we take that and we go to George Washington, let's fast forward because there's a lot of in between. From there, George Washington made this change because he was living in this Christ consciousness. So he was starting from year one of America. Steve Jobs started what he started. So now we're starting in year one of whatever Steve Jobs created. So as soon as you start creating things and time becomes irrelevant to you, maybe that's when you tap into this Christ consciousness. And that is what we're all trying to achieve. We're all trying to... I look at the Bible as a metaphor on how to live.
It's 100% is.
I don't look at it...
Because if you look at all religions, they all mirror each other. So, like, obviously, they're just different ways to say the same thing. It's different ideas. Like, exactly. Even when you go, like, before... And you go to the ancient cultures, like, all their... You know, even though they had, you know, multi-gods and, like, some horse and chariot is pulling the sun, like, all the basic messages are still all the same. They just had different ways of explaining what's going on.
And that's where we're at. We're at a time in our society where we have the information to know all about these religions and say, you know, all right, what are they all trying to tell us?
Right.
What are the rules to this game? And because that's all these ancient teachers are trying to do. They're trying to help us play this game. How can we exist better on this planet. Like the world just changes, like because there's people that change the world. It's an amazing thing how like I've always thought that like one person, Martin Luther King, if he as a human being didn't exist, the world would be a different place. Would someone else have risen up? Probably. Would it been done differently? Sure, it definitely would have been done different. But thank God he was here, and now we're living in his reality.
If
where
there was no Martin Luther King, there would, let's just say, like, just we're staying in this universe, whatever. There's just no Martin Luther King, so there's still Malcolm X. So there isn't that peaceful, like, non-violent fucking voice. There's just like Malcolm X is the voice. Until there would be divide. Yeah, but by that point, but it would like there would have been already too much. There were like, who's to say that MLK didn't influence Malcolm X to think that shit? Oh wow. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they weren't mutually aware of each other for a long time. Like Lily was just like, I'm trying to think of like a fucking comparison, but I can't even think of one.
That's a good idea. I mean, you're looking at Tesla and Edison.
Yeah, it literally is Tesla and Edison. Like, Edison's in it for like ultimately the negative reason, like
the money. I mean, fucking Black Panther fucking comparison, like fucking Malcolm X is fucking Killmonger. Like you understand. I understand his fucking anger and everything else, but like. You would just continue the war, what you want to fucking do, and how you want to solve the fucking problem. Like, going to war with everybody isn't going to solve the fucking problem, it's just a continuation of it.
Yeah, that's right. They want to propagate that, the powers that be.
Stifling better ideas to, keep yours profitable is a terrible way for society to advance. If you continuously stifle advancement just so that you can stay in power, how does that benefit anyone? Big companies buy out small ones so they can shut the technology down so they don't become competitors. Instead of embracing that new technology and changing theirs, they take the easy way out and just crush it.
Let's think of the growth of the American economy if they never stopped electric cars. Like America, we would still be a manufacturing, like whatever fucking economy, because we would have this infrastructure where we're making these solar panels and like all these things that they're manufacturing in China with fucking people, we could be doing here. Yeah, but instead we were just like, no, we'd rather fucking.
It's the easy way out.
It's the easy way out.
Yeah, if we all work together to advance society, we all get there, But if we're all just focused on the wrong thing and money, god damn, when the fuck are we gonna learn that shit? Isn't the fucking answer, Like money is irrelevant because a gazillion dollars an hour is being spent in military when like a fraction of that could be used to solve the world hunger. It's just a question of like the powers that be. You say it, kids?
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely problems with the Greek because we already produce enough food to feed everyone in the world.
It's like, I need to make a profit.
Right.
I can't just grow food and
we waste like 50. We waste more food. Like the CO2 problem or like whatever global warming. Like half of that can be related to rotting food.
Hey, if you want to catch up with Vince on your own, then you need to visit catchingupwithvince.com.